We've already seen some incredible performances so far in these current NBA playoffs, and it had me wondering, what are the 10 greatest playoff performances in NBA history? Today, I put together my list, and I'm breaking down why I believe each player has earned the spot that I placed him in. Before I get into the list, let me first explain the factors that determined my rankings. First off, the player had to win the game, so naturally, games like Michael Jordan's 63 points in Boston Garden will not be considered for this list. Second, I'm factoring in the overall production of the performance, so statistics will matter heavily. Third, I'm considering the gravity of the moment. For example, performances that took place in the first round will be considered for this list. But obviously, a player will receive extra credit if that performance came in the NBA Finals. In a similar fashion, each game within a series will be considered, but obviously, a must-win Game 7 performance will earn extra credit. Lastly, how clutch the player was down the stretch will also count towards his ranking. All of these factors are subject to scale, and not every single one of these factors have to be present for each game on the list, but each one of these categories is capable of boosting a game's ranking. So now that we understand the logistics, let's get into my list, and let me know afterwards if your list differs from mine. Number 10. Bob Pettit in Game 6 of the 1958 NBA Finals versus Boston. The Celtics legend Bill Russell won 11 championships over the course of his career as a player, but in total, he made 12 trips to the NBA Finals. The only time Russell lost on the game's biggest stage was in 1958, and it was thanks to the historic showing from the Hawks power forward, Bob Pettit. He's one of the more underrated and overlooked legends of basketball history, and on this night in 1958, he outshined Russell and everyone else on the court, as he put up monstrous totals of 50 points and 19 rebounds on 55.9% shooting. Every single one of those 50 points were needed, as his St. Louis Hawks won the championship-clinching 6th game by a score of 110 to 109. It took everything for him to defeat the greatest winner that basketball has ever seen, and for this reason, he gets to be the one starting off my top 10 list. Number 9. Tim Duncan in Game 6 of the 2003 NBA Finals versus the Nets. The big fundamental was an absolute beast throughout the entirety of this series, but in this game especially, he destroyed the New Jersey Nets in just about every way he could. Duncan nearly had the first and only quadruple-double of NBA Finals history, as he put up an insane stat line of 21 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, and 8 blocks on 47.4% shooting. Despite being loaded with talent, the New Jersey Nets were only able to score a total of 77 points that evening, and that was mostly due to Duncan shutting down the paint and securing almost every rebound up for grabs. San Antonio was actually trailing by 6 points heading into the fourth quarter, but Duncan came up clutch, putting the clamps on the Nets' offense, which ultimately resulted in an 11-point championship victory for the Spurs. It was certainly one of the greatest performances by one of the greatest players to ever live. Number 8. Michael Jordan in Game 4 of the 1993 Finals versus the Suns. It was a crucial game for the Phoenix Suns, as they were looking to steal a game in Chicago and tie the series at 2 games apiece. Well, Jordan had other ideas, as MJ absolutely erupted for one of the highest scoring playoff performances of NBA history, regardless of the fact that he was being guarded by an all-defender, Dan Marley. In this iconic showing, Jordan dropped a whopping 55 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists on a lethal 56.8% shooting. Even with Jordan's insane level of production, the game was extremely close heading into the final few minutes, which is when MJ did what MJ does, as he sealed the game with some clutch baskets down the stretch. If MJ doesn't have the highest scoring finals average in NBA history, then the Phoenix Suns likely win this championship. But thanks to MJ's explosion, in this game especially, that didn't happen. Number 7. Giannis in Game 6 of the 2021 Finals versus the Phoenix Suns. This was recent history, so I'm sure you all know the performance very well. In a championship-clinching game, Giannis destroyed every defender Phoenix threw at him, and he was extremely efficient while doing it. On the night, the Greek Freak scored 50 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, and 5 blocks on a remarkable true shooting percentage of 74.9%. He was an absolute force on both ends of the court, as the Suns had basically no answer for him on either end. The game was actually tied heading into the fourth quarter, but Giannis took over as he scored 13 points in the final 10 minutes, sealing his first championship of his young career. Number 6. Elgin Baylor in Game 5 of the 1962 NBA Finals versus the Celtics. Heading into this crucial fifth game in the finals, the Boston Celtics had won the last 3 championships straight, and the series was tied at 2 games apiece. If the Lakers were going to win this important game in Boston, it was going to take a legendary performance from one of their star players. Well, to say that Elgin Baylor had a legendary performance would be an understatement, as the man recorded the highest scoring finals game in NBA history. On the evening, Baylor exploded for 61 points and a dominant 22 rebounds on 47.8% shooting. He achieved this absurd total against that season's #1 ranked defense. Thanks to his efforts, Los Angeles was able to win that pivotal fifth game with a final score of 126-121. Number 5. LeBron James in Game 6 of the 2012 East Finals versus the Celtics. This was the year following LeBron's epic meltdown in the 2011 Finals, as his Heat lost to the Dallas Mavericks. So when the Heat were yet again facing elimination, down 3-2 in the series, very few expected James to come up clutch and have a vindictive performance for the ages. But that's exactly what he did, as the King controlled the game in almost every aspect. In nearly 45 minutes of play, he poured in 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists on a stunningly efficient 73.1% from the field. Unlike most of the other games on this list, this game wasn't close down the stretch, as LeBron scored 41 of his 45 points in the first 3 quarters, keeping Boston from ever believing they had a chance at winning that contest. Needless to say, this was the beginning of LeBron proving that he could put the Dallas series behind him and that he was more than capable of winning an NBA championship. Number 4. Michael Jordan in Game 6 of the 1998 Finals versus the Jazz. Although this is far from Jordan's best playoff game statistically, the gravity of the situation and his clutch demonstrations don't really get any better than this. On top of that, Jordan was dealing with massive obstacles. For one, Scottie Pippen's back injuries were flaring up, causing him to miss much of the game. And for the portions that Scottie actually played, he was operating as more of a decoy than anything else. Due to this, it was a requirement for Jordan to carry the offense. Not only did MJ do just that, but he did it more than anyone ever has in NBA playoff history. MJ scored 45 points, had 1 assist, and 4 steals on 42.9% shooting. Capping off his evening was arguably the most clutch sequence of all time, as Jordan stole the ball from Karl Malone and proceeded to hit a game-winning shot with 5.2 seconds remaining, which was his final shot of his career with the Bulls, and the shot that earned him his 6th championship ring. Michael scored more than half of the Bulls' total points that game, as he scored 45 of their 87 points. That's 51.7% of the team's offense. Since the NBA merger in 1976, this was the highest percentage of a team's offense in NBA Finals history. Jordan understood the magnitude of the moment, and he understood the assignment, and he delivered like only he can. Number 3. LeBron James in Game 5 of the 2007 East Finals versus the Pistons. LeBron James was only 22 years old at this point in his career, and his Cavaliers were going up against a highly favored Detroit Pistons team, who had championship experience and who had made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 5th straight season. The series was tied at 2 games apiece, and heading into Game 5 in Detroit, almost no one expected Cleveland to win, let alone watch a 22-year-old have one of the greatest playoff performances of all time. What LeBron proceeded to do was possibly the greatest carry job in NBA history. With 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, LeBron completely took over the game, as he scored the Cavaliers' final 25 points of the contest. From the 2-minute and 48-second mark in the fourth quarter to the buzzer sounding in the second overtime, not a single Cavalier contributed to the final score other than LeBron James. He was 11 of 13 from the field in that stretch, and the rest of the Cavaliers were 0 of 6. Thanks to his legendary effort, the Cavs won the game 109-107. He finished the night with 48 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists on 54.5% shooting. I kid you not, I was watching this game live when it took place, and this was the exact moment that I started to believe that LeBron was on his way to the GOAT conversation. Number 2, Bill Russell in Game 7 of the 1962 Finals versus the Lakers. Russell was the epitome of a clutch performer as he played in 10 Game 7s throughout the course of his career, and he won each and every single one of them. This one, though, was certainly his best. Russell dominated on both ends of the court this night. Not only was he performing up to his usual form both defensively and on the boards, but he excelled far beyond his usual standards on the offensive end. On the night, Russell scored 30 points, snagged 40 rebounds, and had 4 assists on 44.4% shooting. To this day, his 40 rebounds in that 7th game is still the highest total in NBA Finals history. There was one other area where Bill was extremely clutch, as he made 14 of his 17 free throw attempts, which is a conversion percentage of 82.4%. He was a career 56.1% free throw shooter. If Bill doesn't step up from the free throw line on this night, his Celtics would have lost the game. Instead, he heroically led Boston to their 4th straight championship, with a final score of 110-107. When it comes to getting it done when it mattered the most, nobody did it better than Bill Russell. These are my honorable mentions for this list, and let me tell you, it was very hard to contain this list just to 10. Feel free to pause the video for a longer look. Number 1. Magic Johnson in Game 6 of the 1980 NBA Finals versus the 76ers. This was Magic Johnson's rookie season, and although the basketball world saw his potential, he was far from being the Lakers' best player throughout the season, as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar securely held that title. The problem was that in Game 5 of the Finals against the 76ers, Kareem got injured, which didn't only take him out of the rest of the game, but it forced him to sit out of Game 6 as well. With their best player and their starting center out, the Lakers were forced to look at other options to fill the center spot. What they ultimately decided was to move their starting guard, Magic Johnson, to the center position, in place of Kareem. Magic was only a 20-year-old rookie at this point, and now suddenly, the weight of the basketball season is put upon his shoulders, as he starts at a position he had never played before in the NBA. Not only did Magic not fold under the pressure, but he delivered what I believe is the greatest performance in NBA playoff history. Although Magic started at center, they moved him all over the court throughout the night to fill whatever role was asked of him. He completed the game with an astonishing total of 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals on a deadly true shooting percentage of 72%. With this rookie's epic performance, Magic's Lakers won the game and secured the first of his 5 championships, with a final score of 123-107. When it comes to a productive showing in a crucial game with the pressure at its highest, it really doesn't get any better than this magical performance. So what do you guys think? Which game should have made the top 10? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.